Hi everyone, welcome back to Saheb Academy. Today in the sixth video of buyback chapter, we are going to solve another problem of buyback, which is very interesting because here the question is silent regarding how many shares do we have to buy back and at what price do we have to buy back. Okay, both of these things are missing from this question. How many shares are you going to buy back and what is the buyback price? Both of these things are not given. You must have seen questions where they will be silent regarding number of shares, how many shares do we have to buy back, but not the buyback price. 99% of the time buyback price will be given, but this is a special question where buyback price is also not given. Okay, two things are missing over here. So in that case, how to solve the question, it becomes very interesting. Okay, so that is what we are going to see. Now basically I will just give you an overview. What do we do? If you have understood the concept properly, then you all know whenever the question is silent regarding number of shares, we go back to section 68 subsection 2 of the Companies Act, which specifically talks about this, right? The conditions, isn't it? So what does those conditions say? We have three tests, you all know: resource test, shares outstanding test, debt equity ratio test. Yeah, and when you do the calculation in these tests, what do you get? You get number of shares and number of shares, right? Of course there is a meaning in these tests that we'll properly understand while solving the question, but now just get an overview. Okay, so you will get number of shares in all these three tests, and what are you going to do is you are going to select lowest of three. For example, here it is 50,000 shares, 2,50,000 shares. Here let's just say 1 lakh shares. Then what are you going to do? You are going to select 50,000. According to section 68, you can only do the buyback of 50,000 shares. Is that clear? That's how you do the calculation. Okay, that's how you check the conditions, and what is the maximum number of shares that you can buy back. Is that clear? And here in this question, that is what being said. You have to do maximum buyback. Is that clear? Okay, now let's get back to this question. Let's understand properly how we are going to solve this. First, let's just read the question. Now see here, the following is the extract from the trial balance of S Limited on 31st March 2022. Here we have got the debit balances and credit balances. Non-current assets 72 lakhs, cash and bank balances 36 lakhs, other current assets 36 lakhs. In total, debit balances are 1 crore 44 lakhs. And then here we have credit balances, equity share capital at rupees 10 each. Okay, the face value is rupees 10, 24 lakh total paid up capital, general reserve 36 lakhs, securities premium 12 lakhs, 14% debentures 50 lakhs, creditors 22 lakhs. In total, it's 1 crore 44 lakhs. Fine. Now what's the requirement? Very simple requirement. Understand properly. You are required to ascertain the maximum number of equity shares which the company can buy back by offering maximum price after complying with all the necessary legal conditions. Now understand properly, here they are saying maximum number of equity shares and maximum buyback price. So basically they are talking about maximum buyback. Okay, so we'll see how to do that. It's really simple, but just understand whenever the question is silent and the question is saying you have to go for maximum buyback, maximum number of equity shares, or maybe they will give you the buyback price. Okay, but here both the things are not given, so let's understand properly how to do that. Okay, and then they are saying give the necessary journal entries to record the buyback in the books of S Limited. Now this is very simple. You all know how to pass the journal entries. The main thing is the first requirement. Yeah, the main thing is the first requirement. You need to know now first how many number of shares do we have to buy back, at what price, right? So that's very important. So let's see, right? Let's go to the solution now. Now see, here we have the solution. Let's understand what's the technique in this question. It's really simple. Here the question is silent regarding maximum number of equity shares and maximum price of buyback. So first what you have to do is you have to do all the three tests that are available. Okay, resource test, shares outstanding test, and debt equity ratio test. Then only you'll be able to calculate those things. Fine. So let's begin with the resource test. Now first understand what does resource test mean. What is the logic of this? Resource test says that what is the maximum amount that you can utilize for buyback. In simple words, how much total outflow you can have, maximum total outflow you can have in this company. Fine. And the Companies Act says that it is how much? It is 25%. Buyback must be less than 25% of paid up capital and free reserve, less than equal to. Okay, So 25% of paid up capital plus free reserves and securities premium. Understand? In buyback chapter, free reserve doesn't only mean free reserve, it also includes the securities premium. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. You are going to see the question, for the amounts. Equity share capital paid up is how much? 24 lakhs. General reserve, which is a free reserve, that's 36 lakhs. Securities premium, that's 12 lakhs. So 24 plus 36 plus 12, that's equal to 72 lakhs. So 25% of 72 lakhs is how much? 72 into 0.25, that's equal to 18 lakhs. Okay, so 18 lakhs is the total maximum outflow that you can have in this buyback. Okay, this is the maximum amount that can go out. Is that clear for buyback? Yes. So now, is the resource test over? No, it's not over, but we have to finish the resource test over here. Understand properly. Resource test, what do we do is free reserve plus paid up, plus securities premium into 25%. That's the amount we get. What is the maximum outflow that can happen? And then what we do is we divide that by the buyback price and we get the number of shares. Okay, but in this question we don't have the buyback price, so that is why we will have to stop it right here only, the resource test. Okay, till the amount only. We don't have buyback price now, so how will we divide? We'll not divide, we'll leave it as it is. Fine, we'll move on to the shares outstanding test. Here directly we'll get the number of shares. Just see how simple it is. Okay, let's move on to shares outstanding test. Now in shares outstanding test, what happened? In shares outstanding test, directly the test tell you how many shares you can buy back, how many maximum shares you can buy back, maximum shares that can be bought back. That's equal to 25% of the outstanding shares. Let me show you in our conceptual paper. See, a company cannot buy back more than 25% of number of shares issued or outstanding. Okay, so just check in the balance sheet of the company how many shares are outstanding in the company. If you see, equity share capital at rupees 10 each, 24 lakh. Okay, so 24 lakh is the whole capital, face value is 10, 24 lakh divided by 10, that's equal to 2,40,000 shares. 2,40,000 shares. That's the total shares that are outstanding in the company. So 2,40,000 total number of shares into what percent? 0.25. Yeah, 25%. So that's equal to 60,000 shares. Okay, you are completed with the shares outstanding test. It's really simple. 25% of outstanding shares, 25% of 2,40,000, that gives you 60,000 shares. Simple and straightforward. Okay, is that clear? First we did resource test and we calculated what is the maximum outflow that can happen. 18 lakhs, maximum amount that can go out of the company for buyback is 18 lakhs. Is that clear? Yes. How many maximum shares we can buy back? 60,000 shares according to this shares outstanding test, not as a whole section 68. No. Just according to shares outstanding test. Okay, how much? 60,000 shares. Okay. Now you don't have the buyback price, right? So what you can do is you can connect the resource test and shares outstanding test and calculate the maximum buyback price. It's really simple. See, maximum outflow that can happen, maximum shares that you can buy back. This is the amount, this is the number of shares, maximum, just divide those two. 18 lakh is the maximum amount that can go out, divide that by the maximum number of shares that you can buy back, 60,000, that's equal to rupees 30. So this rupees 30 will be your buyback price. Did you understand the logic? This is the maximum amount that can go out. This is the maximum number of shares that you can buy back. Okay, so if you connect these two, divide them, then what do you get? You get the buyback price. Yeah, and you know from the balance sheet of the company that the face value of the share is rupees 10. So if buyback is 30, that means rupees 10 is the face value and rupees 20 is what? It's the premium on buyback, the extra amount that you pay to the shareholders, isn't it? Yes. Okay, so 30 rupees will be your buyback price. So one of the objective is completed. You have calculated what is the maximum buyback price. Maximum buyback price is rupees 30. Is that clear? Simple and straightforward. See here, maximum buyback price per equity share 18 lakh okay, maximum outflow that can happen according to resource test, divide that by the maximum shares that you can buy back according to shares outstanding test, you got rupees 30 per share, and in this rupees 10 is the face value and rupees 20 is the premium on buyback. Simple and straightforward. Okay, so just by doing this you have calculated maximum buyback price. Now one more test is remaining, let's just do that. Now once you have calculated the maximum buyback price, you can complete the resource test also. What you can do, see, you can take this what is this 18 lakhs, okay, you can just take this 18 lakhs and divide that by rupees 30. What will you get? You will get 60,000 shares, right? So the number of shares in shares outstanding test and resource test will be same only, 60,000 shares, 60,000 shares. Okay, because we have connected these two things now, that's why. Yeah, this is the maximum outflow that can happen and the buyback price. That was the formula, isn't it? Let me just show you the formula once again. See, in resource test what happened? Free reserves plus paid up and plus securities premium. Free reserve also includes securities premium. Yeah, all the three you add up into 25%. That's what we did over here. We got 18 lakhs, and then we have to divide that by buyback price to get the number of shares, right? So see here, 18 lakh divided by 30, that's equal to 60,000 shares. Fine. So we did that and we got 60,000 shares. Fine. Moving on, then we have debt equity ratio test. Okay, so let's do the debt equity ratio test. Now see here, we have debt equity ratio test. It's really simple. First let's understand this condition properly. After the buyback of equity shares, the debt equity ratio cannot be more than 2:1. It can be 1:1, 1.7:1, 1.3:1, but it cannot be like 3:1, 4:1. Okay, that's messed up. But what does that mean? It cannot be more than 2:1. It means that, for example, in your company, if you have a debt of 100, let's just say, simple example, if you have a debt of 100 in your company, then your equity should be half of that, 50. If your debt is, let's just say, 200, then your equity should be 100, half of that, 500, 250. Okay, like that. Is that clear? That's how it should be. That's the condition we have right now. So now the main thing also you have to understand that what does debt mean over here? Debt means all the debts. Okay, secured debt, unsecured debt, short-term debt, long-term debt, okay, everything. And equity, what is the meaning of equity over here? Equity means over here, understand, paid up share capital, free reserves and securities premium. Okay, CRR will not be part of this. Here equity means paid up share capital, free reserves and securities premium. I've already explained this to you, right? Yeah. So now there are two ways to do the calculation under this debt equity ratio test. Okay, and at the end what will you get? You will get number of shares only, how many maximum shares you can buy back and maintain the debt equity ratio at 2:1. Fine, we'll get the answer as number of shares only. But as I said, we have two methods to do this. The first one is the long method where we use the equation and all, but right now we are not going to see that because that will confuse you. Okay, leave that. We will use a shortcut method. Shortcut is very simple. See what you have to do. First you have to calculate the debt in your company, how much debt you have. So how will you do that? Just go to the balance sheet. In the question, if you see here, you have two debts, right? 14% debentures, 50 lakhs and creditors 22 lakhs, right? So add those two together, 50 plus 22, that's 72 lakhs. That's your debt. And then what you have to do, you have to calculate the target equity. Now you already know what is target equity. What is target equity? The equity that you must maintain after the buyback. And what's that? 2:1 ratio you need to maintain now. So if your debt is 72, then you need to maintain half of that, half of debt, isn't it? Half of 72 lakhs. So 72 divided by 2, yeah, half now, divided by 2, that's equal to 36 lakhs. Okay, so 36 lakh is your target equity. This is the minimum equity you must have after the buyback. Is that clear? After this, what you have to do? After this, you have to calculate your current equity. What is the existing equity in your company? And what does that comprises of? I have already explained. Paid up share capital, free reserves and securities premium. Only these three, not any other capital reserve or something else. No, only these three. free reserve, securities premium, and paid up share capital. Okay, so that's equal to how much? Now if you'll see, it's same 72, 72. That's just coincidence. It never happens. Okay, it's just coincidence. Now see here, paid up share capital is 24 lakhs, general reserve 36 lakhs, and then securities premium 12 lakh. 24 plus 36 plus 12, that's equal to 72 lakhs. Okay, now understand logically, it's really simple. See here, what is happening? See the difference between target equity and existing equity. 72 minus 36, that's equal to 36 lakhs. Okay, the difference between the existing equity and the equity that you must maintain after the buyback, the target equity, is how much? 36 lakhs. Okay, so this is the maximum reduction that can happen in your equity. Okay, the maximum reduction to satisfy this condition, this is the maximum reduction that can happen, 36 lakhs. Now understand why reduction will happen. Of course, you are going for buyback, but understand why there will be a reduction in equity. Two things are there. Understand this properly. Two things are there. The first one is that you are cancelling your shares. You are buying back your shares and you're cancelling that, right? So you're going for buyback. So because of buyback, your equity is reducing. And the second thing is you are maintaining a CRR, isn't it? For replacement of capital, to satisfy with section 68, what you have to do, you have to create CRR, isn't it? So to maintain the CRR, what you need to do, you need to take the amount from free reserves, from general reserve or PNL, whatever you have. Now in this question we have general reserve, so you'll be pulling the money from general reserve and putting it in CRR, and that CRR is not part of equity. This equity, I mean, so equity is reducing because of that. Understand? Okay, it's because of the buyback and CRR. And understand CRR will be at face value, right? Capital is being replaced now with CRR, so it's at face value, and this buyback is happening at buyback price, isn't it? Face value and buyback price. So you can take the ratio of these and find out how much will be maximum that will go to CRR and how much that will be buyback. Okay, see here, it's really simple. What you need to do is see face value and buyback price, right? So the ratio is how much? Face value is 10, buyback price is 30, so 1:3. 1:3 is the ratio. So in this ratio you have to distribute this 36 lakh. Okay, see, 36 lakh into 1/4, that's 9 lakh. Yeah, if you are going for buyback, maximum buyback in this debt equity ratio test, then this much will be transferred to CRR. How much? 9 lakhs. And how much buyback will be happening? Buyback is 36 lakh into 3/4, the remaining amount. Okay, that's 27 lakh. Okay, so take this 27 lakh, this is the maximum buyback, the amount. So take this 27 lakh and divide that by the buyback price. Yeah, take this and divide that by the buyback price. You will get the maximum number of shares that you can buy back according to debt equity ratio test. Don't worry, I'm going to go through this again. It's really simple. So number of shares to buy back, 27 lakh divided by 30, that's equal to 90,000 shares. Okay, so 90,000 shares is the maximum shares that you can buy back according to debt equity ratio test. So let's just recap what happened over here. See, we must maintain 2:1 debt equity ratio after the buyback. Okay, that's the condition. It can be less than that, 1.5:1, 1:1. Okay, that can happen, fine, but it can't be 3:1, 4:1 like that, right? So we started off with the shortcut method. First we calculated the debt from our balance sheet, and then we found out the target equity, which is half of this, 36 lakh, and then we got existing equity from the balance sheet only. Equity share capital, free reserves, and securities premium. Okay, and then we saw the difference between these two. We found that out to be 36 lakh. Always it would not be like this. Okay, right? So anything can come. Okay, here it's just a coincidence that you have exactly half over here. Fine. So now this is the maximum reduction that can happen in equity after the buyback. So some of it will go to CRR and some of it will go, the rest of it will go to buyback. Yeah, for buyback. So in that ratio we distributed that. Okay, in that ratio, and we found that out to be 9 lakh and 27 lakh, and then we took this maximum buyback amount and divided it by the buyback price, because we have already calculated the buyback price now, isn't it? Previously we have already calculated the buyback price here, 30 rupees, so we divided it by 30 rupees, right? So 90,000 shares we got. This is the maximum buyback number of shares you can buy back according to debt equity ratio test, not as section 68 as whole. No, that is yet to come. Okay, 90,000 shares. Is that clear? So debt equity ratio test is completed. Now what you have to do, you have to compare. Debt equity ratio test is saying 90,000 shares. Then resource test is saying 60,000 shares. Shares outstanding test is saying 60,000 shares, right? 60,000 shares. So you can compare which is the lowest. Of course, 60,000. Here it's equal now. Of course, it will be equal. So 60,000 shares. Not always, because here you have connected these two. That's why it's equal. Okay. So 60,000 shares are the lowest. So you will have to select that. Okay. You can't go for 90,000 shares. As a section 68 as a whole, what you have to do, you have to compare all the three as we just did now. You have to compare all the three and select the lowest. Lowest of the three will be available for buyback. Therefore, the company can buy back 60,000 equity shares at rupees 30 as the buyback price. So this will be the maximum buyback. This will be the maximum buyback. Is that clear? So now what is this 90,000 shares? This is just according to this test, and these figures are also not helpful. Okay, this CRR figure and all in this question, because we can't use this, right? Because we already have another lower option, that's 60,000 shares. So we have to go for that 60,000 shares option. Is that clear? So this is not useful in our journal entries and solution and everything. Okay, is that clear? Fine. So now let's just see the journal entries. It's really simple. I hope you have understood this. It's really simple. Now see, here we have the journal entries, but before that, let's just understand the equation first. You all know equity share capital plus premium on buyback is equal to equity shareholder. Yeah, what's the buyback price? Buyback price is 30 rupees. That's what we have to pay per share to the equity shareholders, and out of that the face value is rupees 10 and the premium is rupees 20. Okay, how many shares are we buying back? How many? 60,000 shares. So 60,000 into 10, that's 6 lakh. 60,000 into 20, that's 12 lakhs. Okay, premium. In total, the payment that we have to do to equity shareholder is 18 lakhs, right? Yes. Now the question is completely silent regarding the fresh issue, so we are not doing anything regarding the fresh issue. Okay, it's completely ignored. Fine. Now the first thing that you have to do is write off premium on buyback. Yeah, this is the loss that we are incurring. We are paying extra to the shareholders, so that loss has to be written off, and you all know it has to be written out of the free reserves and securities premium. Yeah, in section 68 you have the option to write it off through securities premium. So in the question, if you see in the question, let me just bring the question. In the question, we have a securities premium of 12 lakhs. So we can use this 12 lakh to write off this premium on buyback, this loss. Okay, so that is what we did. Securities premium is reducing by 12 lakhs. Okay, is that clear? Simple. And then this 6 lakh, this capital is being cancelled, which has to be replaced either through fresh issue or free reserves, isn't it? Source for buyback. So we are not doing any fresh issue because the question is completely silent regarding that. We are not doing that. We are utilizing the free reserves to create CRR, capital redemption reserve. Okay, so 6 lakh we have to create. See here we have free reserve. See, general reserve we have of 36 lakh. So of course we can take 6 lakh from the general reserve and create a CRR, capital redemption reserve, and that's what we did. Okay, so by this we have complied with the Companies Act, and then we have to pay off the equity shareholders the 18 lakh. So let's see the journal entries, how it will be happening. First you have to pass the due entry. You all know equity share capital account debit, you're cancelling off the capital. Premium on buyback account debit, you are recording a loss and expense, isn't it? Premium on buyback, extra money that you are paying, 12 lakhs. To equity share buyback account, 18 lakhs. Okay, this equation is the first journal entry, being money due to equity shareholders. You can also credit over here to equity shareholders account, that's also fine. Okay, so to equity share buyback account, 18 lakhs. Fine, that's the first journal entry. Okay, first journal entry done. And then the second entry is writing off the premium on buyback. See here, the premium on buyback was recorded. Now you have to cancel it off. See, to premium on buyback account is getting credited by 12 lakh. Here it was debited, here credited, it got cancelled. Okay, what will be the debit? Debit will be the thing that you have utilized. You have utilized securities premium by 12 lakhs. So debit the securities premium by 12 lakhs. And then you have to write the narration, being premium on buyback, written off 12 lakh, 12 lakh. Simple, easy. And then next entry you have is of creation of CRR. Okay, so what happened? How did you create the CRR? You utilize the general reserve. You reduce the general reserve by 6 lakh and created a CRR of 6 lakh. Both are reserves, both have credit balance. Yeah, general reserve is being reduced, that means you have to debit that. 6 lakh is debited, and capital redemption reserve also has a credit balance. You are creating that, it is coming into the picture, it's increasing, so you'll have to credit that. Simple as that. Being CRR created to the extent of face value of the shares bought back, isn't it? This is face value now. You are replacing the capital. Fine. So that's the narration. And then at last you will have to pay off the equity shareholders. Okay. So here at last, here in the first entry, you credited the equity share buyback account, or you can say equity shareholders account, a liability account, okay, that you have to pay, isn't it? I mean, as a company, we have to pay to our shareholders. How much? 18 lakh. Here liability was created. Now at the end, what you have to do, that liability you have to extinguish, you have to cancel. Why? Because you are making the payment. You are making the payment. That's why equity share buyback account debit, liability is being reduced. So you are debiting that 18 lakh, yeah, cancelling. Here it was credited, here you are debiting it and cancelling of the liability, and then payment is being made to bank account 18 lakhs. Fine. Being payment made to equity shareholders for buyback. Is that clear? Simple and straightforward. See, the entries were really simple. You have already seen all this. The main thing was the tests, how to do the tests, right? So you have also understood properly how the tests are being done, right? How to do the resource test, what is the meaning of equity, paid up capital, free reserves and securities premium in this section 68, and shares outstanding test also you understood. And then you also understood how to calculate when buyback price is also not given, yeah, buyback price. And then debt equity ratio test also you understood in very much detail. Yeah, yes. If you want to understand the equation way, then I have made a separate video on just debt equity ratio test with a ICI module question, so you can see that. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope you have understood this, simple and straightforward. Okay, bye.